Hello everybody, this is Chaos with Chaos Esports Productions, bringing you another Bronze Masters League Series game. Today we're going to be looking at a PvT here on Polar Night Ladder Edition. So, as you guys probably have already figured out, yes, this is a Protoss Bronze Masters League Series game, not a Zerg. I got a couple questions slash comments in chat at one of my stream sessions over the past couple weeks saying, hey, when are you going to do Protoss videos again? So I'm going to go ahead and go back to doing the Protoss Bronze Masters League series because it's been a couple seasons. As a function of the way they've set up the laddering system, I'm actually now down in Silver League, so this is actually a great opportunity for me to go ahead and get in some of the lower league games that I kind of missed out on in my previous episodes. Those more or less focused on the Platinum and Diamond League, so this is just a good opportunity to rehash some of the basics and give a little bit better perspective on what people will see in the lower leagues. I talk a lot about things that you might expect in the lower leagues, but this will be a good opportunity to actually get to see that firsthand. As we see him pull all of his SCVs in order to try and take out my probe. So, I got a couple quick announcements. Obviously, you've probably been seeing all of the Clan War games going up over the past couple days. I know I've got probably 2 Clan War videos that'll probably come out today for a couple of the Clan Wars that I casted over the past 2 weeks. So, in case you guys want to check me out while I'm streaming, go ahead. There's a link in the description for my stream. Go feel free to follow me there, and you will get that notification of when I go live. Also, I wanted to let you guys know, for anybody who's interested or who might have already started a gaming channel here on YouTube, I started to create a website called the Chaos Esports Productions website, basically to give you guys some tutorials on kind of what I've learned over the past year creating YouTube videos. So if you're interested in that, I'll put a link in the description. It's still kind of in beta. I'm still in the process of writing a lot of articles, but it does have a few articles that can help you get started. So feel free to go check that out if you feel like doing that. So let's go ahead and get on into this game. Now this is a PvT where basically this matchup in general, I like to focus on a very macro style build that gets your expansion up as quickly as possible. It's actually very similar to a PvZ build that I do, but it's got one little tweak in that it doesn't follow up with extra gates. It follows up with a very, very quick tech up to your robotics facility to help get Immortals out for any type of early pressure that you might see, Marine Marauder type pushes and things like that. So basically we went for a pretty standard opening, getting our first assimilator just after the gateway was down, getting up the cybernetics core, and then once the cybernetics core is started, that is when your second assimilator will go ahead and get down. You'll put 3 guys in each gas, and then your first 100 gas will be spent on a single stalker to get a little bit of map presence and your warp gate research. And then soon enough I'll be getting out my mothership core to give me that flexibility to have the photon overcharge at the natural when needed. So I'm going to be scouting out here with my stalker. Now as far as the initial scout went, we went in, we took a look, and we saw he is taking a relatively early gas. Now normally speaking, PvT, you would normally see the gas already up before the barracks, assuming that he's going to be going for a very, very heavy tech build, maybe like a Reaper expand into a very fast factory. Since we saw him take the refinery a little bit later, we're not too terribly worried about any type of super early teching, but we obviously know that it could potentially be coming up relatively soon. So, and then I believe I did not scout. Yeah, I haven't scouted the engineering bay just quite yet. I'm going to be getting out a sentry as well as the mothership core to kind of round out this small little task force, and basically just kind of stay here at the front, make sure we're not seeing anything. One thing that I probably should have done is go ahead and leave the stalker back here at the watchtower, just that way I can see if any early rushes and things like that are going to be coming. So now that the mothership core is out, we're going to start to warp in a handful of more units, start to get out our observers, and then we're going to be throwing out a hallucinated phoenix pretty quickly here. At this point, we really haven't gotten a good idea of what our opponent's doing, so we are going to be focused on figuring out what kind of tech path has he chosen, what should we expect, and all, you know, kind of what's going on. So Phoenix is going to come in here. We're going to see that he's already planted down a turret, and his engineering bay is up, as well as a factory with the tech lab on it. So we're pretty confident that he's going to be going for some type of tank build or Blue Flame Hellion type attack. Now, in general, since this is a Silver League game, we are going to not necessarily be able to 100% predict what our opponent's doing. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and plant down my double forge to start getting my upgrades up, because I don't know how fast he teched his upgrades. He has an engineering bay, we just don't know whether or not he's gotten any upgrades. And actually we'll be sending out a second hallucinated phoenix relatively soon to check on that. And also check on his expansion, because as of right now we still have yet to scout that. So hallucinated phoenix is going to go out once again, and basically I rally it over the natural of my opponent, and then also go ahead and check out, I do a quick poke on one of those units just to see the upgrades and see that, oh, he hasn't gotten any upgrades yet, so we're feeling pretty good about where we're at. Now at this point we're just focused on continue on getting our tech up. Twilight Council needs to go down, so 2-2 can start immediately once 1-1 is finished. And this is where things get a little bit tricky. I am pretty far ahead as far as supply goes, but his army is pretty strong. The 2 tanks is kind of what gives him that extra strength, since splash damage is pretty awesome. So he's actually going to come in here, and I kind of fudge this up a little bit. I see the scan go down, so I know he's coming. And if you look at my vision, I come in here and I was like, okay, I need to focus down the tanks. He gets several of the stalkers right off the bat, which is a little bit of a bummer for me. I will go ahead and warp in more zealots, because zealots have a little bit more tankiness to them. So I force field him, try to subdivide his units, and then I should have backed out the zealots here, but I just let them die and try to focus down the tank as much as possible. And the immortal is not going to get out. So we do have an immortal already, another immortal out on the field, and now we're kind of a little bit in a very scary position. He does do a scan to go ahead and try and take out the observer, but doesn't quite get it, just because he only had 1 marine at the time. So at least we do have the vision of kind of what's out here for him. We're a little bit behind as far as keeping up our production. We see this couple more gateways going down. This will help us alleviate some of this extra minerals. And actually our opponent goes ahead and chooses to back off. Now, this is kind of where the division between silver and gold is. A lot of times Bronze and Silver League players don't really know when to continue attacking or when to back off. And, you know, this is a very, very clear sign of that, just because he could have easily come in there and put me into a very, very tight bind, having to basically muster up just enough units to get out and potentially take out his army. But there's a very, very strong possibility that he would have actually won this game had he just continued on pressuring. So, gonna be moving out a little bit. I'm feeling pretty good. 1-1 is done, and let's see, I don't think upgrades wise, yeah, I don't have charge just yet. Before I move out, I'm starting to think, okay, my second base has been up for a significant amount of time, and I need to start thinking about getting my natural up. So I go ahead, send a couple zealots back here, take out these back rocks, and feeling pretty good to go ahead and plant down that expansion very, very shortly. So basically at this point I'm just waiting for +2 to finish, as well as my robotics bay to start Colossus production and charge. Those are going to be the key elements that I need in order to push out. Now, I do go ahead and send down another hallucinated Phoenix to go ahead and see what my opponent's doing. Basically, I'm just checking for a third. If he hasn't taken a third yet, I'm pretty confident where I'm at, and am pretty sure that I'm not going to have to deal with a whole lot. I see that he is getting his Viking production out, and actually he goes ahead and pulls back with his army. I think this is a function of him having all of his units on one hotkey, and basically he just tried to focus down the hallucinated Phoenix. So his scan's going to go down and pretty much see everything that I have. Now obviously it's not going to quite catch all of these zealots, or maybe it will, just barely. Whether or not he was watching is another story. But we're feeling pretty good just because our 2-2 upgrades are done, charge is now finished, 3-3 is on the way, and overall we haven't really seen that much upgrading from him. As we see, +1 is just about to finish for him. We actually come in here with these zealots to confirm that. We do see that only 1 upgrade is finished, which means we've got a 3 upgrade advantage, and that should be enough to push through this without having to do like any microing whatsoever. So we're actually going to, let's see, I'm not sure where my army's going. I think I back off because I think he's gonna try and poke in here and get into a position. I'm gonna go ahead and speed this up just a little bit. So yeah, at this point we're gonna go ahead and start to move out. He does see our army and what we're doing, and at this point he's basically just getting himself into a good enough position, tries to take the engagement. The Zealots come in and do a significant amount of damage. He doesn't really get any real engagement with his Marine Marauder force. He just backs up with them, trying to let the tanks do as much damage as possible. But with the upgrade advantage that I have, as well as just the pure army force that I have over him, I believe I went into that engagement with about 20 supply higher than him, so I'm in a really good position to just go ahead and wipe out his army and then go charge at the natural. Now, one thing that you will see in the lower leagues is their macro is probably a little bit slacking. What I mean by that is usually people are very, very mixed between paying attention to what's going on during a fight versus building units. So this is probably the best example of that. Obviously, if we go back to that engagement, we'll take a look at the production tab and kind of get a good idea of you know, what's going on in his production. So we come out here, we see 1 Marine's being produced, and even through this entire engagement, he's not building a single unit. It's not until after the engagement happens does he start to build his units. So we're going to come in here and take out the natural. We do actually go ahead and scout this 3rd base with these zealots, so we send some units to deal with that. Now he's going to lift off and try to minimize the amount of damage that he is going to take, but we are going to go ahead and take out the natural. I believe I come over here and I'm like, yeah, I'm just not going to worry about it. I'm going to go kill his main, because his main is more important. Yeah. So at this point we're in a really good position. We've got our upgrades almost finished. I am going to go ahead and get a couple starports on the way because I want to round out my composition with either some Tempests or even some Void Rays. Void Rays do pretty well against a tank force. But yeah, so we're going to more or less march right in here, and that is going to be GG. So I hope you guys enjoyed this game. Feel free to go ahead and hit that subscribe button for all of the latest games that I produce as far as the Bronze Masters League series or any of the Clan Wars. Also, go ahead and feel free to hit that like button and share with your friends on Facebook and Twitter. Help them out, get their SC2 skills up to par. And yeah, so also I want to let you know there is an email in the description below. Feel free to go ahead and send your replays to that email. I'd be more than happy to cast one of your games, give you a little bit of tips and tricks to Starcraft. Doesn't matter what race you are, I tend to take anything. So I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next game.